Hey, my name is Gytis, and if you work in a product development team, so you may be an engineer, a salesperson, marketing person, or a product manager, and you work with the designers, chances are that you need to use Figma to some extent. So in this video, I want to cover the very basics of using Figma to make your life easier. So I'll cover things like file organization, how to navigate within the files, how to leave a comment, how to view prototypes, and then two specific things for developers and then for marketers. So if you are in the team and you want to know a little bit more about Figma and feel a bit more confident using it, then this video is for you. So let's get started. File organization is all about finding your team, your project, and then the file that you're looking for. So that could be a big file that relates to like the whole product, or it might be a specific design file that relates to a simple task. I'm just gonna show you the basics of how things are usually structured in Figma, but be mindful that it's gonna be different because the way that things are set up will be different based on your design team and how they've done it. But the basics are as follows. So this is the home page. So if you just fire up the Figma, whether you have a native app or web browser as I have here, you have a similar view. So you have your profile information at the top. And then here is where you will find all of the different teams that you may have in your company. It might be just one, or it might be multiples. If you have like multiple projects and just like a big organization, that you most likely will have more of these. And this is just like my personal workspace with like all the different things that I'm doing in Figma. But we're looking at the very first line here. So things with the colorful squares represent the team names. And for this case, it's called YouTube Figma videos, but it would have a more meaningful name here representing the team. And then if you click that, you should be able to see all different projects that could be that team would be working on. So if you maybe a startup or like a second stage startup, like you have a product team and you're working on multiple products. So you would have one team, which is, at the top here, and then you would have multiple projects, and those projects will have multiple files within it. So most likely if you're a developer or a marketer, you want to get to a specific file. So you find your team, you find the project, or the projects will be listed here as well, just below that square. You can just click that, and then you will see all of the specific files within it. And then based on this thumbnail, which is currently very basic in my case, you should be able to understand what this particular file has in it, and whether that is what you're looking for. So make sure that this is very clear to you, like the naming, if they add like a ticket numbers or dates or who designed it, any top level details that could go in here. Make sure that makes sense to you and it helps to find files. But this is essentially all you need to know about the file organization: how to file, how to find individual files, how to find your team and your project. So once you find your file and the team project or the project database, you want to double click into that file, and that file should open up to you. And once it opens up, you should be able to see pretty much the zoomed out version of the file. So you should be able to see what goes in here. So all of the files, you should be able to see just how many of things there are. And in order for you to really be able to navigate around and sort of zoom in, out, and move things around, you need only two things. So for zooming in and out, you need to hold Control or Command on your keyboard and use your mouse zoom or scroll wheel to zoom in and zoom out. So this is like a super basic command, and the additional tip is that wherever you have your mouse, this is where you're gonna zoom in. So it's not just zooming in like in the center of the whole canvas, but it is defined by where you keep your mouse. So if I keep the mouse sorry, I'm using this fancy spotlight tool. If I'm having my mouse over here and I zoom in, then this is where I'm gonna zoom in. So that's very sort of intuitive way to do that. But the issue is with it, okay, I've now zoomed in, but now I don't see any other file, so I need to like scroll down. So for just scrolling down and up, you can use normal scroll wheel and just go up and down, and that will move the whole canvas. Canvas is like this whole gray area that we have, and then it's just gonna move that for us. But if you want to move in any direction, so let's say you have like screens to the left and to the right, you need to be able to like pan around. So to do that, you want to click and hold your space bar, which will give you this arm appear, and then you click so that it grabs in a way, and then you can move it like a sort of a fabric of sorts. And then you can move in any direction, up and down and so forth. So, that's pretty much all you need to know about just navigating within the file. So once you found the correct file, then just moving in, zooming in, and zooming out, finding what you need, getting all the context that you need. That's super simple. Control and scroll wheel to zoom in and out, and then space bar and click and move to move things around. One of the best things that Figma provides us all is being able to collaborate fairly easily in the Figma file. And if you're any stakeholder within the company, marketing, development, product management, you will be looking at design files and probably leaving comments, reviews to the designer so they can like change things up. And therefore you need to know two things about the collaboration part on your end. So first thing is, when you are in a design meeting, so for example, designer is presenting a designs to you, so just kind of walking you through, explaining their reasoning and all of that, it might be sometimes it's a bit more difficult to follow them along exactly. You will be seeing like these colorful cursors that have the name of the person, and then where they're at. So you can kind of follow them like that, but that's usually not the most efficient way, especially if the designer will be jumping in like between different Figma pages or within the files, or maybe this is just like a huge file and there's like a lot that goes on here. So you want to make sure that you're looking at whatever the presenter is looking at. So to do that, all you need to do is you need to go to this top right corner, and then you want to click the person that is presenting. So when you hover, you see the details, and if you click on it, you get like a highlighted view, like highlighted border as we see, and then you also see following Gytis. So I've just opened the same file into different tabs, and I'm following myself on a different tab pretty much. So click and follow, and then whatever the other part goes. So I'll try maybe to mimic that a little bit. So like I am me in a different place, and I can zoom in and out. So I'm zooming on a different tab and moving things around in a different tab, but it like asynchronously does that on the same screen. And so if I wanted to then leave that mode, I can just click that stop button up top, or I can just click anywhere else on the screen and or start moving around essentially, and then that will dismiss it. So here you see like my cursor from another tab showing up here. So this is how we're gonna look with like many people. That's how you follow someone along. And then once you follow along, and maybe you have like some time to leave comments, you can do that during the meeting, or maybe after, or maybe you just got a link to a design and you want to go in and review on your own. So commenting is a very, very powerful tool, and we use that every day. So you want to click this left top item called add comment. You can use your keyboard and click C to do that as well. And when you do that, your cursor will change to this bubble, and then you can just find whatever design element you're not happy with, or you want to leave comment, suggestion. You just click there and add comment and click enter. And that's pretty much how you leave a comment. And then the designer will come in, and then they will see that, oh, there's a comment there. There's like a bubble there. And then I can click on it, and then I can see what the comment is, and I can like leave a reply. There can be like a huge thread, of different comments until you figure things out. And once it's done, then you can, click mark as a result. So if you are like as a developer or sales person, and you've created a comment, like added a comment for designers to do, they usually make that change and they should leave a comment that, oh, I've done it, so that you can come back here and change it, or like not change it, but verify it. And if you happy with that change made, then you can click this check mark here. So this is just marks it as resolved, and then boom, that's it. That sort of ticket is closed. If you want to leave comment to a specific designer or specific person in the team, you can use this eta and just mention someone from the team. So they should be added. They should be added in the Figma team for you to be able to access it here. But I've like started typing my name, and then it just highlights me, and I then can leave a comment to that person. And the benefit of doing this is that I will get an email saying that, oh, this person left a comment for me. So this is like a very direct way, so that you know for sure that they will get that comment, and they will know that they need to answer to this specific matter. And I think that's pretty much the basics of leaving a comment. You also be seeing, once you're in this commenting mode, you will see that all of the comments here on the right side as well. So now we just have one, but you can have like multiples here. And then you'll see which ones you've actually clicked on and responded to. And the ones that have not been read will be at the top, and you can sort of resolve and do actions from here or comment on to things. If you click, once you click on that on the right panel, it will jump up here as well. So there are more things that I can talk about here, but these are the basics that you need to know about leaving a comment, answering a comment, and then marking that as a result. So let's say that the design team are preparing a prototype for the users to test on, and they want your feedback, some initial thoughts about whether the prototype is being set up in the proper way, whether the instructions are clear, and so forth. So you might have a task that, oh, can you take a look at this prototype to see it makes sense? Or if you're like a developer and designers maybe just like prepared a final design and prepare that as a prototype, so you can actually click through it to see how things are working, how things are flowing, how each screen relates to another. So I just want to make sure that you can get the most out of the prototype. So I'll just cover three main things: is adjusting the frame, commenting, and then navigating. So once you open up a prototype, it's going to be something like that if it's like a desktop thing. And as you can see, it does not like fully fill the whole screen here. So if I move my mouse to the top, I'll get these additional options at the top. And I can just click this enlarge button, and that will help me to have more immersed feel. But as you can see, I still have a lot of edges here left. So what I want to do is I want to click this options drop down, and it's usually set at actual size as it's been designed, but for different devices, it will gonna appear slightly differently. So what you wanna do is click fill screen. And if the aspect ratio is the same, then you should be able to have a much more realistic view of the prototype. So if it's like a website or a web app or whatever, it will gonna fill the whole view, and you're just not gonna be distracted by any other additional controls. Now, for the commenting part, it's pretty much exactly the same as we've just looked at when you're viewing the designs in the Figma file. So you can click a C on your keyboard to use a fancy keyboard shortcut, and you would get the same sort of bubble appearing, and then you click anywhere and add comment like that. You can mention people, so all of that good stuff. And again, by clicking on the same thing again, you can reply, you can click resolve or like replies, you can see at the top left here. So all the same functionality applies here. If you don't see that the C button for some reason doesn't work or whatever, you can again move your mouse to the top, and you at the top left you will see this comment function here. So you can click that, and then again this whole thing will go into that commenting mode. And then the last part is navigating. So let's say that you're going through the prototype, you're clicking through stuff, but then you want through the whole thing, and then maybe you want to restart the whole thing, right? So instead of you clicking like arrows, and sometimes the prototype can be quite complex, so there's like no way really to go back to the initial page. So again, if you if you move your mouse up, then you should be able to get the restart button at the very bottom, which is very small on my screen. But if you click that, then that will restart the whole prototype, go to the very first page, and then you can, do everything one more time. There are also these arrows at the bottom, which allow you to kind of go like, one step, essentially allows you to go from screen to screen. So it's really not ideal if you have like a proper prototype with like different buttons and click targets and so on, because you're just gonna skip a lot of stuff and you're just gonna go through different screens. So it probably will not make a lot of sense going through things like that. But it may depend on a prototype. So you can, in some cases, you may find this useful. You can also do that using your keyboard with left and right arrow buttons to do exactly the same thing. And then once you're done with the prototype, you can just click that to go out of the enlarge mode, and and then pretty much you can leave the page if you wanted to close it. And that's all you need to know about viewing prototypes. Now, the last two topics are a bit more specific. This one is going to be dedicated for developer specific. So this is all about the developer mode that the Figma has, and then how to use that to inspect different components and elements to make your life easier. So if we're going back to our presentation or Figma file here, I have a couple of example product designs. These are actual realistic designs that I've done for a great company, Steady. And so as a developer, you may have like a ticket in like Jira board or Asana or whatever. You have a task, you need to implement this particular design. And so I've seen developers go about it in different ways. Not everyone knows how to exactly inspect things here. So it will depend on the team and how things are set up. If you have like a lot of these components predefined in your UI library, then you may be just able just drag and drop things, which is great. But more often than not, things are built custom and you don't have everything in your UI kit. So you need to be able to inspect the different elements to know what's what. So for that, and pretty much for everything development related or implementation related, you want to go and click this button here. So this is even says dev mode. So if you click that toggle, it goes into this developer mode. So once again, boom, click, and it goes into developer mode, and pretty much everything kind of changes and is much more focused towards developers. And in here, in this case, imagine it as like your web inspector tool that you have in your Google Chrome browser or any other browser, and you can inspect every single element. So just by clicking on text or like boxes and buttons and things like that, you will have a different type of content appearing on the right side. And this should provide all the front end related or design related informations from like code, padding, borders, layouts, all the different color settings and typefaces used and whatever. So it depends on what you click, you'll have like different information, but that's going to be the most precise way for you to know how to design things. And it will give you spacings, how things are related to each other. You can export different assets. If it's like a visual asset, like an icon or whatever, you can just export it as SVG or any other different file. So here on the right bottom, and it just saves a lot of time for everyone. So you don't have to exchange so many questions with designers. First of all, you will gonna implement things much more precisely. So you don't need to spend as much time fixing like errors and things that designers or Q&A will find. So this is just, I can't recommend this tool enough, really. And even if you know about it and have used it, make sure that you actually spend a little bit of time just to go through it, click on everything on every page on screen, just to see how it all works, what kind of information it gives. And you can change different modes, and you can see like the component, like the original component of this one and how it looks like, so where things are coming from. So it has a lot of features, and today I've just seen that Figma is releasing even more features, annotations and things like that would even help even more to articulate specific features, functions, business logic, and things like that. So this feature set is expanding even further. So make sure that you know about it and you use it every time you're implementing designs. And the last bit of tips that I have is dedicated for marketing, for sales, for product managers, pretty much everyone that will help out designers with editing copy. So not all teams will have UX copywriters or dedicated product, copywriters. So most often it's a collaboration between different departments and teams. So design, product, marketing, sales to draft as best of a copy as we can. So I just wanted to show very quickly how to do that in any file. And so your assignment might be to just go in and just go through a couple screens and then make sure that the copy makes sense, whether you have like sort of suggestions or whatever. Sometimes the task is just to go in and replace like placeholder text. So it could be like lorem ipsum or some gibberish, and you just need to go in and add real text. So, it may depend. So I would say that there are like two mains to approach the copy editing. One is if it's like initial stages and you're just discussing ideas, like things are not yet confirmed, you want to use commenting tool. I think that's the safest approach. So if you don't like the copy somewhere and you want to be careful that you don't mess things up, you can just like click on next to a copy field and then just suggest some sort of comment and change this or that, and then you can leave that comment here with like additional copy. And then if you want to maybe there's someone else from the team that will pitch in and change and so on until you actually finalize and someone says that, okay, this is the final, now go on and update it. So sometimes that's the best approach, because like, especially if you're working with like bigger pieces of content, like for the websites, then adding the amount of copy can like change the way things are structured and laid out. So if you would allow outside people to go and make those changes without the designer knowing about them, then that might cause some bad reactions from the designer. So I would go this safe route in those cases. If you're unsure, leave a comment. I think that's the rule that I would go by. And then in some cases, if it's like a closer knit team where you trust your copywriters and that they understand how things should be put together, that the layout and everything makes, that everything is important, so you can't do things just on the fly. Or sometimes, like, if I know roughly how much information is there, and I sometimes prepare the layout in such a way that it's not going to be affected very much by the copy, then I just, once I design something, I have some placeholder text, and then I just give the link to, my copywriters or my colleagues that will help me with the text, and then they just go in here. And in order for them to make some sort of edits, they just need to find that copy, and they essentially we need to click until they have all, reached that field, and when they have this sort of editing cursor. So one thing to note is that things can, usually things are quite nested and grouped in such a way that you can't like just by single click reach the text. So sometimes you need to like click once, click twice, click again and again and again and again and again. So it's time consuming, especially if you need to change a lot of these fields. So a quick hack is that once you hold Control or Command on your keyboard, and you can directly select that particular text copy element. So I click it, and then boom, I'm here. I can edit, like make changes right here and there. So that's like a very quick tip, because even for me, not knowing that tip prior and just clicking things multiple times and then going to another one, that's just a super time wasting thing. So hold Control Command and click into it. And once you're in this editing mode, and if you need to like make changes to other copy elements that are sort of in the same kind of domain or plane, then you can usually, and the system allows you just to like move from one thing to another until you actually leave, and then you will need to go back into like multiple clicks. So, but that's it. You just double click, you make edit, and you leave, and that's pretty much how you've done it. But again, as a good rule of thumb, even if you like make changes and you made like a few changes, make sure that both designers and developers know about it. So first of all, leave a comment to designers so they can make sure that things are still aligned and working as they should be. And then that should be it for you. So I hope you'll find this useful. And that is it for this video. I hope you learned something new, and if you did, please share it with your team so you can build better products faster. If you like the content, consider subscribing to my channel. That will help a lot. If you have questions or want to learn more about design related things, then leave the comment down below. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.